stay spoken anymore. I'm broadcasting live from Paris. Hopefully, you should be able to see me right now on YouTube, on Periscope, on Twitter, on Facebook, not Instagram yet, and soon Reddit. So let me know. Oh my God, we got Martin Andrew in the house from Manchester. I believe he's watching on HAPS. HAPS is the other way. Peter is in the house. He says quality is about the same. Fides says it is way better. So way better on HAPS than on Periscope. PK saying the quality is the same on Periscope and Twitter Live. Hello from Sydney. Oh no, they said we can still call it spoken. All right, Brett. Mel says, hey, hey there. How did you end the last broadcast? That was the tricky part. It was not easy to end. So ending it from Twitter is not the same as ending it from Periscope. So on Periscope, you swipe down and you get a big end screen. On Twitter, it actually has it just has like a red X, similar to the way we ended Periscope a long time ago. Hey, Mark. Quality sharper, but screen is smaller as looking at portrait. Now we're getting somewhere. So some people prefer the Periscope because it's full screen from a viewing experience. That is interesting. Now, as a broadcaster, they're both full screen. But yes, as a viewer, it is different. Hey, Euro Maestro. Hey there. Tanya says hi. Dave says it looks good. All right. So there's the Champs-Élysées. We have the traffic. You can see the difference now. You do prefer Periscope. You like Periscope more. Sharper video, but more of a depth feel than Twitter. Gotcha. Full screen on landscape. So it probably depends if you're watching it on a phone, watching it on the iPad, watching on desktop. The experiences might be slightly different. Mac Ryan in the house. Be sure to follow him if you don't already follow him. Mark Steele. Martin says if you turn your phone in half, it pretty much fills the screen too. Oh, okay. So if you're on a phone watching it, you can rotate your phone to landscape, and apparently it kind of fills the screen. Mel says both are full screen viewing for you. Is this the same road the tour comes down around the Arc de Triomphe? It is. So if you're talking about the Tour de France race, the cyclists come up this road at the end and they circle around the Arc de Triomphe and then they go back down. And they do that, I'm trying to remember now, is it 10 times? I think it might be 10 times. It's at least 3 times. But they do this cycle around and around at the very end. Hey, Euro Maestro. Again, good morning. Hey, everyone. So I'm waiting for my appointment time. Can't rotate phone on Android for landscape. So this is another iPhone benefit. So if you have an iPhone, you can rotate the landscape and get that experience. It's not available on Android yet. I imagine it's coming in the future. So with a lot of software updates, it's very typical that they appear first on iOS, on iPhone devices, and iPads and things like that, and then later on Android. So it shouldn't be too long. They're still trying to get updates through the Google Play, so yeah, they have to wait for that. Piano Man in the house from Rochester. He does some great broadcasts as well. He plays us great music. He's a crossword maven. So quite good. Paris in the morning. So I don't know if you saw my messages yesterday, Mr. Piano Man, but when I looked up Frederick Douglass, it's the article I was reading said that he moved there when he was 25 years old, and so he lived there longer than any other city. I guess he lived there for like 25 years. Um, but I think the story goes is he was born a slave in Maryland, and when he finally escapes, he heads up towards Pennsylvania and then New York City. I know he goes to Rochester at some point, and then he also goes to Washington, D.C. for a little bit. So, yeah, so quite an interesting fellow. Hello from New Orleans. Hello, Louise. Kathy Drew in the house. Nate says hi. Hola, Mark. Is Mark here? I didn't see Mark. Good day, Kathy. Kathy Drew in the house. I'm waiting for Kathy Lane. Kathy Lane is amazing. Hola. I guess we should walk all the way up to the Arc de Triomphe, and then we'll complete our test, and we can compare it. There's a little doggy. Not so little, actually. A big dog. God, a huge dog. Nice to see so many in the morning. Yes! Yeah, I don't usually scope this early, and I tend to get more viewers later in the day. People enjoying McDonald's. McDonald's has a big sign to tell people they are open. Welcome, we are open. Frederick Douglass, born in Maryland. You were right, I gave you credit for that Blaine scope last time. Yes, I saw you do that. That was awesome. I'm just saying I looked into a few more details, and it looked like he moved to Rochester when he was 25 years old. So, he actually died in Washington, D.C., but then they shipped his body back to Rochester for burial because that's where he spent, it's the one city where he spent most of his life or the longest amount of time. Traffic is picking up here. I'm really encouraged by that. Thank you for your stream. Yeah, so traffic is picking up. Some more people are out and about. Now, while the situation has been slowly improving in France vis-a-vis the COVID-19 numbers, we still have to be very vigilant because there's a new strain in the UK that has come out. So you guys have probably heard about this new strain. This new strain appears, although we don't have full confirmation yet, it appears to be much more contagious, maybe 70% more contagious. It has 17 to 23 mutations. 3 of those mutations are very disconcerting because in other variants, these mutations have been identified with increased infectiousness, but also with increased viral loads, and also more resistance to antibody response. So all of that is being examined. We don't know yet if the new variant increases severity, whether it increases mortality. We just don't have information on that yet. It does appear to increase infectiousness. All right. I think we crashed. So that's one kind of issue recently with HAPS. Yeah, the HAPS app crashed for a moment. So I know they're working on that, and they are fixing that, and they should be going to infinite load soon. but they're not there yet. So it is crashing from time to time on paths, which is not happening. I've not experienced that on Twitter. So far, the disease doesn't seem to be worse at all, and the vaccine should still work just as much more infectious. Well, we don't really know yet if it's worse or not. It's a little hard to tell, but it does appear to be more infectious. It may turn out not to be more infectious. So if you remember the Spanish variant B.1.177, which is different from B.1.1.7, this current variant, that was initially suspected to be more infectious, more contagious, primarily for the same reason that this one was suspected, because it was spreading much faster and there was a much higher incidence rate. It turned out it was just related to how the cluster spread. So that's a possibility still. There are some virologists out there who think that maybe this is just related to like a cluster of a super spreading event in London. But there is some good reason to think it is more infectious. We saw this pop up in Kent and London around the same time, September 20th in Kent and September 21st in Greater London. And, it rose to about 26% of London cases by mid-November. And by early December, that had risen to 62%. So that's some of the reasons why we think it might be more infectious. Also, because of the specific mutation, the N501Y mutation specifically. But there's also some other mutations that are concerning. So I've outlined all the different mutations on my Twitter feed, and the three specific ones that I'm concerned about. There's a study out there that shows that a combination of two of these three mutations I'm talking about has shown to be more resistant to antibody response and to convalescent plasma treatment. And that's why it gives me a little bit pause. We are going to have more studies. There should be one released this week by Thursday or Friday, which will give us a better clue. That's Chinatown, that's why. So we'll see. So so Andrew's quite correct on where we stand currently. That the government is certainly saying, and some experts are saying that, we haven't seen evidence yet to suggest that it's more severe or that it increases mortality. The only footnote I would give to that is that we have seen in the South African variant, which is a different variant, but does have one of the same mutations, that N501Y, we do believe that one increases viral load. And we have seen from previous studies that increases in viral load are correlated with more severe cases. So the jury is still out. We should have some information. I think there's one study in particular I'm waiting for that should be published this Thursday or Friday. So by Friday, we should have an answer. And that will give us a clue to whether it has an effect on vaccine efficacy or not. Now, the CEO of BioNTech said today that he's very confident that it will not affect vaccine efficacy, that the vaccine will still work on this new variant. And a lot of scientists feel fairly comfortable that it won't affect it. There's 8 or 9 mutations that sensible to be exotoxic. Yes, there's 8 or 9 mutations that affect the spike protein, and that's the vector of attack for the vaccines that have been approved so far, attached to that spike protein. So the question is, to the extent that the geometry changes, the surface of the spike glycoprotein changes, could make it less effective. But as I said, there's 8 or 9 mutations. There's something like 1,720 aminos in that chain, so it's a very long chain. So it just really depends on how significant. You're back. I am back. American Media is playing it all down. Yeah, I don't want to play it down too much, and I don't want to play it up because I don't want people to be worried, because we don't have any reason to be worried at this time. So people shouldn't be anxious, but it is something to look into. Um, we haven't really ruled anything out just yet. As I said, some of these specific mutations, particularly like the 8090, 8090 deletion, and another mutation, uh, do make me a little concerned. And so I'm looking forward to these studies uh, to be to have some sort of confirmation that it's not going to affect um, the antibody response. But we have seen we've already seen some negative responses in the same mutations in other variants. I know that's a little complicated. So it's the combination of mutations that could change things. Something to be aware. Yeah, it should be, you should keep it in the back of your mind. Just the fact that it's more contagious is already concerning. What we saw, I mean, the whole reason why this got the attention of scientists in the first place was they were trying to figure out why numbers in Kent weren't going down despite the lockdown. So what we've seen previously is whenever we put in tough mitigation strategies and or lockdowns, we see the numbers go down. And if you look at the UK numbers, you see that they were going down, and then suddenly they started spiking back up. So that was the original question. Why is Kent behaving differently? And then when we started looking at the numbers more closely, we see that this phenomenon is going on in Kent and in London. We saw it in 60 different council areas, and they've identified well over 1,100 cases now with this new variant. So it wasn't actually observed until October, but the sample was from September 20th. So that's where we are now. All right, so I think I got to check the time. 14:05. Okay, I'm going to go to my. Apple Store because I got a little visit to do there. But this was a little test to compare the HAPS version of the video versus the Twitter Live version. Seems that they're fairly similar. 2 changes. Had a minor spike in Sydney, border shut, numbers going back down. Yeah, as a matter of fact, when I mapped the presence of the N501Y mutation, which is not this variant, but it's a mutation that's in this variant and in other variants, I saw that this mutation arrived in Australia in April, if I'm not mistaken, in the United States in July. Oh, no, I'm sorry, in Brazil in April. I take that back. It arrived in Brazil in April, the United States in July, and I believe in Australia in June. And so that time period corresponds with peaks in both Brazil and the United States. I'm not sure about Australia. And that corresponds to the peak that we're seeing in South Africa. So that sort of corroborates the idea that mutation is in fact more infectious and not just a result of chance, because it occurred in 3 different areas at the same time. Don't worry, Europe might block this out now, but would have made its way to Europe. Yeah, we have actually we've already found cases of the variant in Europe. So over 40 countries have blocked air travel to the United Kingdom, including most of the big European countries, France, Italy, Germany, Denmark, the Netherlands, Italy, I said Italy already, Ireland, and a whole bunch of other countries, Austria, have all blocked air transport to the UK. I know Israel has, Canada, and countries all around the world. Like I said, the list keeps growing. It's over 40 countries. The United States has chosen not to block traffic in from the UK. The governor of New York is very concerned about that because they have half a dozen flights or more every day landing in JK from the UK. Yep, Canada as well. Um, but there have been instances of this variant throughout the UK, not just in the 60 areas where we see these peaks. And we've seen it in Denmark and Denmark and the Netherlands, according to the World Health Organization, and according to some media sources. I don't know if this has been confirmed in Italy as well. So, yeah. So the variant is probably going to get out if it's not already out. Stay safe, bud. And as of the 15th of December, this genome was identified. I think about there's 1,629 genomes of this variant, and I think 4 of them are outside of the UK. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.